start talking about the educational piece behind how to get there. How did these women get so confident? How were they able to walk into these births feeling like they could do it without an epidural or other intervention, and be able to go to a place where they can reflect right after the birth about what a calm experience it was. How did they get there? So first of all, we need to educate ourselves, or maybe re-educate ourselves, depending on what kind of background we're coming in with. But my first question is, what muscles are you using when you're giving birth? What set of muscles are you using? As a laboring mom, what is the primary set of muscles that you will be using to birth your baby?
Uterus?
Yeah, the uterus, right? So, exactly, and so we need to know how it operates, because knowing is half the battle, right? If we understand how the body functions, how it's going to be working, how the various parts of the uterus are going to be working so that we can see them, visualize them working in harmony together, understanding what's happening in our body so that we're not afraid of how it might feel, and so that we can sort of help things along when we have that understanding. So, okay, your first design challenge of the night will be to construct a cervix out of Play-Doh. So there's small little containers of Play-Doh. This is the elementary school teacher in me that cannot resist the temptation for arts and crafts. But grab yourself a container of Play-Doh, and you've got about 30 seconds to make yourself a cervix.
No idea.
Wait, as if I'm missing out.
So this is your cervix now, ladies. Men, you do not have a cervix.
Mine is
So if you can get the lid off and you can get the Play-Doh out, that's your first success in this challenge. Yeah. Okay. So everybody hold up their cervix. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what we've got. Hey, not bad, Peter. Well done. Okay. Okay, so I've got a bigger cervix here, so I've got double the amount of Play-Doh that you do. But let's assume the cervix looks something like this right now. So thick walls. This is a closed cervix. Inside the cervix, sealing up the passageway to the uterus, is what you may know as a mucus plug, right? So this is a term, it's a fairly heinous term, so we're not going to call it a mucus plug, okay? We're going to call it a uterine seal, because that's what it's doing. It's sealing up the uterus, okay? The baby's inside, the baby's protected by the amniotic sac, but there's also that, that security of the uterine seal being here so that, any potential bacteria cannot be introduced up into where the baby is currently residing. So what may happen is, as one of the first signs of labor, it might be something you notice, it might be something that goes unnoticed, but the uterine seal will dislodge, and ultimately the cervix, the walls of the cervix will start to soften or ripen. And once they become fairly soft and fairly ripe, the feeling of your earlobe is like a ripe cervix. But right now, before it's ready to open and dilate, it might feel like the tip of your nose, like that sort of hard cartilage kind of consistency. But a nice, soft, supple, ripe cervix would feel like your earlobe. And that's a good indication that the cervix is going to start to get ready to move. It's going to start to open. It's going to start to thin. And so let's work now on opening and thinning our cervix, the walls of the cervix. Okay. So let's say my cervix is about 10 centimeters, but the walls are still very thick. So the process of effacement, you might know it as, we're going to start making these walls quite thin. So they're going to have to become quite thin. And what's actually happening is they're not folding down in on themselves, but they're going to start drawing up. And so I'll demonstrate that in just a second. You can, if your Play-Doh will allow it, can thin out the walls of your cervix. And this might be about as thin as this Play-Doh will let me get. But it's a very big cervix, right? It's about 10 centimeters. It's a good activity to do because you are actually visualizing what's happening in the body. And I know that you only have half the amount of Play-Doh that I do, but once you fold it down, you'll be able to make it a little bit bigger. So while you keep working on that, I want to show you what the cervix or what the uterine muscles look like. So the uterine muscles are made up of 3 layers. So let's talk about those layers. The outermost layer are these longitudinal muscles that come up the back of the cervix and over the top. They're going to be working like this during a surge. I'm going to call a contraction a surge. Okay? Underneath this outer layer of muscles, we've got this middle layer of muscles nicely interwoven with blood vessels, really important for bringing that oxygenated blood, that oxygen-rich blood, to the placenta for the baby. And then the innermost layer of muscles are these circular muscle fibers that are going around the uterus this way, helping to keep baby in. They're thicker and more dense, closer together, down near the neck of the cervix. So in these illustrations, these thick walls here are the walls of the cervix. And if you can imagine, baby is up here in the uterus. And in order for baby who is head down, and we'll look at some pictures shortly, but these walls have to open and thin in order to make room for baby to come down. So how does that happen? If these are the inner circular muscles of the uterus and the cervix, we've got the outer longitudinal muscles working this way during a surge. So as these are working this way, they're drawing up over the back of the uterus and coming back down. They're drawing up and up, all the while these inner circular muscles are starting to open or dilate and also draw upwards. So what we want to see is these 2 sets of muscles working in harmony. We know that the surges are going to come, and we know that they're going to come closer together, they're going to come stronger, they're going to be longer. And so what we really want to happen is for the cervix to dilate, because without that, it's going to be hard for baby to come down the birth path. So what we want to see, visualize these muscles working the way that they're meant to, but also these inner circular muscles moving out of the way, opening and drawing upwards. If you think about them drawing upwards, girls, if you can take a blue ribbon along there. So you've got a nice blue satin ribbon. And just if you hold it between your index and your middle finger, and just wrap it around your finger. So you've got a closed cervix here. So when you think about these muscles starting to draw upwards, and you want to visualize this happening, you can simply just pull your ribbon and pull it upwards. And you want this fluid kind of continuous movement of these muscles, these inner circular muscles, loosening and drawing upwards. It's just meant to be kind of a nice visualization for you. And you can choose to use the blue ribbon. You can choose later on, once we pick a birth color, we know what that is, to change the ribbon. You can use it as a bookmark. That way, every time you look at your book and you read your book, you'll see it. And you might, practice this a couple times and just make it part of your visualization. 'Cause if